We're going to get started here. It's 6:32 on Thursday, April 25th, 2024. This is the River Plantation Municipal Utility District monthly meeting. Before we get started, I want to make a couple announcements. First, the agenda that you've got has a change to it. We're going to move item number 2 down to below item number 8 so that you have a chance to absorb all the discussions that go on today before you ask your questions. And second of all, Julie's not here this evening. Monday her husband passed away. So before we start the meeting tonight, I thought we'd give him a moment of silence. George passed away.
Oh my God.
Hearts and prayers go out to her.
Yes.
Oh my God. Where is she?
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Did that happen here? Because she was going abroad, wasn't she? Was going to
It
Europe.
didn't happen here.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't have many details.
Okay, because she was going to Prague, I think. And
She's on vacation. I don't know if she's back yet or not. But she was out on vacation.
Right.
So he died in a hospital or?
No, in his house.
Do we not have enough chairs?
Well, George,
Yeah, we do.
There's one here.
Huh?
We're good.
Oh.
Not too short to see over all the people.
Okay. So first thing we're going to do is go over the minutes of the last meeting. Anybody have any questions or concerns about the minutes from March 28th?
No questions, I move we accept the minutes.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
So we're going to move to item 3, which is the agreement to lease the administration building to Montgomery County ESD.
Okay, Austin sent the lease around with a red line of the changes. I know he communicated with a couple of board members individually with questions, and we certainly have the ability to discuss this in executive session if you'd like to. You obviously cannot act in executive session, so but I think we got a little bit of feedback from the ESD, but ready to answer any questions, or if y'all think it's ready to go, then you can take action. So up to the board.
Well, I wanted to bring up something, because I think Carl's brought it up several times. The drawing that the depiction of the improvements still is not correct. They've left off. We just want to make sure that when you come through this door, all of this over here is this section. It's not shown on the drawing. Is that important that it shows on there?
Yes, it is.
What I will say is that the agreement requires that they submit architectural drawings for approval. We did ask their attorney if they have a better exhibit than the one that is included as Exhibit B, and the response that we got was that this is what they have at this point.
No,
So,
they need to do it.
What I think is going on there is that area is in there, this is just drawn wrong.
Yeah, see,
Because the day room thing actually comes back further into the boardroom than what this shows.
yeah, I drew it here like
That
it
I
should
think is
be.
what's going on.
Yeah, this whole section.
Just as long as they recognize that the existing door coming from the area that they're getting doesn't go away, it stays there. As long as that's clear, I think that'll be no problem.
And the door is the dividing line. That's
Yeah, it's not this door, it's that door.
That's not a door, that's
Yeah,
just
that's
an
just an
opening.
opening.
Has to be defined.
It's just gotta be the door, that's all, we just have to make sure that's acceptable. But I think that's what they've got. It's just, they didn't come back here and draw this little
Yeah.
thing that's in there.
Davis, if we approve anything tonight, can we make it subject to those architect drawings?
Let me say that the agreement requires the subsequent submission of architectural drawings.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So after the execution of this agreement, they will be required to submit to the district for review and specifications, including architectural designs.
Okay? That's
And
pretty
that's in
clear.
section 6.2.
Okay?
Stamp drawing,
So I'm good with it.
Yeah, I'm good with it too.
I have a question.
This is not time for questions.
We have-
Oh, yes,
We're not
it
doing
is.
questions right now.
No,
I
it's-
just want to
no.
We're
clarify.
not doing
some of the-
questions right now.
No, I'm talking about the concrete driveways. It's supposed to be.
We're not
at
doing
least,
questions right now,
it is-
Dee.
I'm not asking questions.
Davis,
I'm
I'd
making
just
a
like to,
statement.
for the
All
people that
of
are
you told
listening,
us.
just clarify that we're not making any contributions to the remodeling inside or outside, all right? Can you hear me?
That's right. The agreement does not obligate you to make any
And there will be,
contributions.
other than the condensation clause, which has to be within 5 years, there will be no reimbursement period after that, correct?
That's right. Termination by the district within 5 years or condemnation in which they
So
would
if they-
conceivably share in the award.
Yeah, if they just decide that they can't stay here anymore, we don't have to reimburse anything,
That's right.
okay? So I think that's fair enough.
I'm good with it.
That's what I wanted in it. I'm
Okay.
happy with it.
Do we want to
I'm ready to.
go ahead and make a motion on this?
I make a motion that we go ahead and accept the proposal, get it signed tonight, with the provisions that we've just discussed, that door is the dividing line, or we'll get that in the architectural meeting.
I second it.
Yeah.
Well, if,
All in favor?
Aye.
now this open for discussion.
if it's not open for discussion, how can you vote on it?
It's not, it's a board meeting, ma'am.
Yes, but we have the opportunity to express our opinions
Okay.
during.
Well, this
Can I
is
say
a
one-
public meeting, I didn't understand.
No,
it
it's
was-
not a public meeting, it's a board
This
meeting.
is.
This is the
no,
public
This is the
this
public
public
meeting.
meeting.
That's the
This
problem,
is
is
a
you guys
public
think it's your
meeting.
meeting.
And if
If
there's
you're gonna
no
have questions
discussion-
after you do
I'm
discussion,
not
and then,
charged, he is.
when you make decisions without discussion, then we might as not well be here. You move the discussion till later,
It's already done.
which makes it us useless.
Yeah. They'll
So
avoid
One of the
it.
you
reasons-
need to be able to have at least a couple quick questions before you guys make a decision,
Correct.
period.
Correct.
Robert's rules
Okay.
over.
One of the reasons that we changed the agenda was that so these people up front here don't have to spend all night here and
Okay.
charge us by the hour.
Okay,
sitting here.
they are working for us, you are working for us. So why don't we make it so everything is above board? Let's make it so you get some input before you make a decision, and if they have to stay later, well, that goes with the budget, with everything else. I'm sorry, but you need our inputs because you're our representatives. You know how that works?
I
Yes,
agree.
I totally
Okay,
understand
okay,
that.
then that's all I'm gonna say about it is, you need our input, you need our inputs before you make a
There
discussion.
was no input before us, but go ahead. I have no problem with it, whatever you guys want to do.
But if you're gonna pass it and not
When did you
let us
produce the lease then?
question,
When did you produce the lease with no discussion?
I'm not running it.
Yeah, okay.
if there's no need for a discussion later, if you're gonna go ahead and
Already approved.
okay it now, approve it now, what's, our questions are gonna go unanswered? Or we ask them and it's just in the air?
Mute, it's a mute point.
Okay,
That doesn't make sense.
Davis, you got any input?
I will say that, legally, the board can take, questions at any time. Obviously, it is important to have an opportunity for public comment. I have clients that like to, put the public comment at the beginning of the meeting or the end of the meeting. It's entirely up to the board on how
We
you
decided to move.
prefer to handle it, so.
Well, why,
Let 'em
who's
see
going
if
to
they have
hear
any
our questions?
No,
If it's going to be at the end.
Davis is right. I mean, and that's why we moved the questions to the beginning. I don't know who remembers before it was at the end, and we moved it to the beginning so we have some input before you guys make decisions. Were you here when that happened, Tom?
I don't remember you guys letting anybody talk during many,
Oh,
except.
yeah.
No. Well, for a long time, we had it the way you guys want it now, have the input at the end, and we all moved it, we voted, the board when I was on it, voted to move the questions and answers at the
But you
beginning,
didn't
so
let
you
people,
guys,
after that, you didn't let people ask questions, and when you were discussing, they didn't.
No, that
well,
has
like
been
David says, you can have questions all through this.
Yes.
You don't have to
You can, I don't
specify
have a
one
problem with
point.
that, But I'm not running the thing, I'm just,
Well,
I tried
well,
to give you what was
We're
on there.
also concerned that the amount of
It's your
input
call,
we
boss,
get
what are you gonna do?
You,
goes.
you have to
It
have
has
our
the meetings
input
go 2 or
before
3
you make a
hours.
decision.
and-
Take questions, big deal.
Okay, go ahead, take questions.
You wanna let them see if they got a what's their question?
Okay.
Well, see, we could have already had the questions done
Okay,
and been through, but this time has passed with all this back and forth when it's not the way it should be done.
Dee had a
I
question
think-
about the concrete.
Yes, and you're.
Okay, what's
and
your
that will
question?
be-
I'll answer it, since
Okay,
nobody,
so
what's your question,
we are
Mark?
not gonna
You
be
said you
paying for
weren't
the
in charge.
concrete.
Mark, what's your question?
I said Dee had a question.
Oh, Dee, what's your question?
Well, I just wanted to be sure we were not paying for the upgrade of
I just said
concrete
that.
driving. Well,
We're
good,
not
and
paying
I've
you.
got
I think we
this other
discussed it last
question.
meeting that we weren't paying for it. You
Yeah,
brought it up
but it
last
was
meeting,
not
and we
in the
said, no, we
lease.
weren't.
It
Not
was
in the
not
lease.
in the
it
lease.
is in the
Not
lease.
written.
Didn't see it.
There's too many people
We
talking.
just went through that in the lease, that we are not paying for any upgrades to the building or anything.
Can we
Okay,
say
well,
it
I
now?
got a
The
question
only
on
the only possible way that we can pay for
6.2A.
anything is if we cancel the lease before 5 years, then we were responsible for 65%.
Yeah, now, why, I've never seen that in the lease ever. Why is that in there? What are you planning to do in 5 years? I mean, if you
What is
can't
it?
do
What
5
is it?
years,
I
why
don't
did you
understand what
intend?
you're talking
That was part of the
I don't either.
negotiations.
about. Okay.
If I can add, the initial draft of the lease that was provided by the ESD, they asked that the district pay for improvements to the building, including some paving. And the district's response was, we will not pay for paving or upgrades that are related to the ESD's use of the building. And so this agreement does not obligate the district to pay for those improvements. The only scenarios under which we would have any obligation to reimburse the ESD would either be condemnation of the building by a third party, where they would share in some of the condemnation proceeds. So essentially, we would get the value of the building, and then they would get, some reimbursement for the value of their improvements. Or if the district unilaterally elects to terminate the agreement within 5 years, then they would be entitled to reimbursement of 65% of the cost of their improvements. So that we can't simply
There's a seat right here.
terminate the agreement 2 weeks from now, or as soon as they finish their improvements and leave them hanging, if that makes sense.
Okay,
Okay, Mark, did you have a question?
No, sir, not at all.
Okay, what other questions? No other questions?
Yes, I'm still saying that Exhibit B is not what you people want to approve as
What do
a
you
part
say?
of this package. I mean,
What is it?
What do
He
you say?
says, he
I don't
says that the
understand.
architectural drawings are in the language.
What do you say? It's not what we want to approve.
You want to approve this, you just have to say, well, all this stuff is not right.
You just heard what he said,
Yeah.
that it's subject to them giving us an architectural drawing. If it's not right, then we go back to the drawing board.
You don't want it up front.
That's what we just discussed. Prior to all this, we've already answered every
Okay,
question
Tom,
you
I
just
said,
asked.
you don't want it up front.
The architecture, we don't need the architectural drawings up front.
Not to set the lease with them.
So you don't know what you're
Also-
getting into until you actually get them.
We don't need them.
I'll also add
Sounds like
that in section 1.1 of the agreement, we address the meeting room specifically, and I'll note that the lease is in the meeting packet. But it says, ESD 9 understands that the boardroom is not to be materially altered in dimension or nature, including with respect to any storage, restroom, or utility facilities within the boardroom, without prior written consent from the board in the form of plan approvals. So no modifications to the boardroom at all per the agreement. But if if the board feels strongly that we go back and require ESD 9 to produce a new exhibit that addresses the dimensions of the room more accurately, we can certainly do that.
I don't think we need to do that because that'll make it another 30 days and the fire department's wanting to go ahead and come in here pretty quickly. So we don't want to wait another 30 days.
Yeah, we need to get the
before
fire
the
truck
meeting.
in there.
So y'all just wanna just let it go. Let it go.
It's already discussed.
We still have to approve the drawings once they, are-
Before they can do
Before they
anything.
can-
Hindsight's always 20/20, Carl.
no, it's not, it's still before they do the.
It's not hindsight, James,
Well,
we
when
still
you
have to
don't
approve
have
the
the
drawings.
drawings up front, and they wanna move in, they're gonna move in, and then you're gonna get the drawing.
They're not gonna
They're not
move
gonna move in
in
before
because
they
they're
do-
You're not,
not.
they
you're
have
not
to
listening to
rebuild
what
it.
we've just discussed.
Yeah, I am.
They're
They're
changing,
not.
they're changing
they're not
everything out
permitted to
there. They're
modify the
building day
building.
rooms, they're building dorms, they're putting in showers, all of that, and that will be in the architectural drawing. It's in the package. In there, if you look at that drawing they have, it shows you what they're planning on doing. And there's even an exhibit that tells you what they're doing.
Are they required to have ADA?
Sir?
Are they required to have
James, that's a
ADA?
federal law.
Yeah. They'll have
So
everything.
in other words, they're gonna upgrade your restroom as well as theirs.
They're gonna do what they're supposed to do for a fire department.
They
We'll
don't
get
touch
the
our
architectural
restroom in
drawing.
here. That's their restrooms once they take it over.
Is there any other questions?
When you remodel,
Any other
You
questions
gotta
about
change all
the
this.
lease? Now, I want to make a point. Every question you've asked, I answered before you started asking questions and raising hell, okay? I answered those questions for you.
Can I make a
I
statement?
object to the,
Can I make a statement?
to the
Yes, sir.
language that's being used.
I'm not, yes, sir.
Okay. I'm sitting back here and I'm seeing like an antagonistic board.
Yes,
You
sir.
guys are fighting
I'm thinking it's an
everything.
antagonistic.
Okay, again, like I
audience.
said before, is your job in here is to answer our questions and let us know what's going on
And I did
and
that.
take our thing. No, you know everything, you guys have studied this, a lot of us haven't. So your answer should be in a very nice tone of voice, not, I told you before. You should say, okay, we've discussed that, and if you want
Okay,
to talk
we've
about it
discussed
later,
it,
we can
go
do
on.
that. Let's try to be a little bit nicer in here.
I'd be glad to. if you guys
Okay,
would.
what?
That's my
If I would
If
do
we
what?
want to ask questions, then that antagonizes
Oh,
you.
we've already talked about this, please.
Yes, we
Okay,
have.
let's
Some
go on.
people
Let's
have.
go.
Okay,
Let's move on.
that's it.
Let's move on.
All right, item number 4.
there you go.
Did we vote?
Just go it
Yes,
through.
okay.
Yeah, it's passed.
Item number 4, the financial and bookkeeper reports.
Wow.
Tiffany, you're on.
Would y'all like a condensed report today or the full meal bill?
Whatever's appropriate for you.
Yeah,
Okay.
I may have some questions when you start.
Okay, okay.
You did some
We've
BS.
got our ending balance of 70,000 from our last meeting. We're gonna transfer, we're reimbursing, we're still figuring out the Vogler and Spencer expenses between the general operating and the capital project, so bear with us, we're still working through that, but a small transfer there. Earned interest and service charges on the accounts. We did issue all of your blank checks between meetings, and then we at the last meeting had that check to J&K and All Seasons. Today for y'all's approval, you've got your normal expenses y'all are used to seeing, with addition to Hearst newspaper. This is the legal notice. Your attorney sent that over to me. That's for publishing it in the Conroe newspaper. Then you've got Montgomery Central Appraisal District for quarterly appraisal fees. I'm kind of hitting the highlights here. If you have questions, just stop.
On that one there, I know that the invoice is still going, showing Jack Herbsinger's name. I think we need to have that for next week. I looked at that today. It's in here, but if that's from the Montgomery Central Appraisal District.
Yes.
We need to have his name taken off
And we've been trying to call on all of them.
Oh, have you?
Anything we see, yeah, we call them, send them emails. It's just a process.
Okay.
And they are coming to my email, so I did receive that directly. Then we've got, I did do your true-up billing for, I went back all the way through last year for the true-up. This is related to,
I'm sorry, we're trying to listen to our bookkeeper's report and can't hear what other people
I'm
talk.
having a hard time hearing it.
Yeah.
we've got, your auditor mentioned that your last bookkeeper was not changing the sewer connection rates between East Plantation's billing and y'all's billing. So I went through your whole last year and I had your operator send me some reports for the connections, and I pulled up the accounts. It was an additional $8,000 that y'all owed on the portion, so everything has been split properly going forward. It will be split properly. All that has been fixed.
Okay, and once we give everything over that way to the fire department, they'll be paying for the electrical or energy bill. They're paying for all of that.
As soon as I get the go-ahead and I can do those splits and that billing.
Okay.
Can I ask a question on this consolidated one?
Mm-hmm.
I have done some research on that based on your thing that you sent me. And I've talked to Consolidated, and I want to bring it up to everybody. Right now, we're on an old DSL line. We're getting 20 megabytes and we're paying $185 a month for that. I've worked out a deal with DSL, if you guys want to do it, and we can, well, it's not a special deal for us, I guess, but they'll give us 600 megabytes on a fiber optics line. They won't charge us any installation, and they'll charge us $140 for it. So we're going to reduce our fees by $40, $45 a month, something like that. And there's a possibility that we also have some unused phone lines that we can cancel. I just, do we need to get an approval from the board for me to make that change, or how do we do that? Dick, hello?
It's up to the board.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking, do we have to vote on it?
Obviously, we're addressing the invoice and the payment of the invoice now, so if everybody's interested in doing that, it sounds like it's gonna reduce the cost by $40 if there aren't any,
Actually,
$40 a month if
it
there aren't
may be
any
more
additional
than that.
costs.
But I need an authorization to go ahead and enact it, and we can have the new fiber optics in a couple of weeks.
And it's the same service provider, so it would just be a change in the service provider.
But it is a different name. Fidium is the one that would do it. They're owned by Consolidated, same provider, the same company. And in spirit of what you guys, anybody got a question about that? What I'm trying to do?
Well, I think that's great. If it's gonna save the district money, that's great.
Well, I know it'll save us at least $40 a
Get a
month.
faster
and-
service.
Is this
And
bill,
it will
is
give us
this,
much faster service for our security systems and stuff to work with.
is this bill just for this building?
Yes, no. Some of the phone lines I'm talking about wouldn't possibly be in vehicle plants.
Yeah,
For
there's
the
a,
plant?
But see, we
But
put
then-
auto dialers in, and I think we still have some lines out there that I can cancel.
Would that include that? Would it include
No,
the other?
that would be additional savings.
Okay.
But what I have to do is get with them and tell them we want to do this, and then we can cancel anything that we're not using. I've also talked with Keith, if we need those services out there, and he said no.
We have call boxes out there. We have cell cards out there.
Yeah, I know you got the auto
So
dial.
we don't need any landlines out
Yeah,
there.
that's my point. That's, all I'm asking is
And there's no internet out
go
there,
ahead and
right?
make the change over
So
to
you're
fiber
gonna-
optics.
You're gonna review what we've got at each location and decide what we need to keep or let go of?
Yeah, right here.
do you need a motion for us to make a
Huh?
motion that you go forward on that?
Yeah, all I need is the board approval, and I can make the call tomorrow. Yeah, Robert?
Yeah, there's, I think it's Fidium I looked at, and on the back, I got their proposal there, there's,
That's who I'm talking to, is fighting.
I know, I think it was them, but did you identify all the different other charges they can potentially perform that may be a factor in what you're doing?
I've already done
Because they
that.
had quite a laundry list of charges,
Mhm.
as opposed to Packus, but they don't do phone business.
No, this has nothing to do with
I know,
that.
right, yeah, no, it's business.
The only thing I
It's
have
the
to do,
business lines, I understand.
I've already identified 2 or 3 lines that I know we don't need, or I'm pretty sure we don't. But I had to talk with Keith and Mario to make sure, and now I've confirmed we don't need them, we can cancel them. So the truth is, we may save $140 or more. But I just need approval from the board to go forward.
Quick question? Just
Yeah.
a quick question. Have you looked at any of the other sources that could be possible? I mean, have you given every different company a
I haven't
chance?
called every company, no.
Well, not every company in the world.
But
But I mean, the other internet phone services, just to get, I mean, you've got to have, it's almost like a bid. I mean, you should put something like that up for bid, as opposed to just, you talk to one
Not
person
really. In
and
this
take it.
case, it's the same company, we're simply changing service.
Well, there might be better services out there than even Fidium. I'm just saying, I mean, for something like this,
It's up to the board. If they
If-
wanna do that, that's what we do.
I mean, it's a public utility, you'd think you would have to put something like this out.
I think I should
For
also
bids.
mention it's $348 we're talking about.
What's that?
The invoice is $348.
I'm on.
We're limited to availability of different providers.
There's not that many of them, I know, so,
I know.
but you know, like I said, just, it would seem like it would be more open, more transparent if you gave everybody a chance to bid on it.
It's nothing to do with transparency, it's a function. We
You
don't-
called up one company and said, can you give us a better
I
deal?
looked at the
Same-
other rates and they're comparable. I
Okay,
did not
okay.
call them, I looked at their
I'm
rates.
just saying that if you did a spreadsheet over the other companies, that's all I'm asking.
No, I did not.
Okay.
Okay, so our ending balance in our checking account is at $57,261.
Okay.
On to our next
Oh,
page.
yeah.
Your online account received in accounts receivable.
I thought we were gonna have a vote here.
Sir?
We're gonna have a vote here.
I don't know.
But moving forward, that you wanna call some other companies and see what we can
We
do?
want to table it and get some more
We just have
information.
to table
Okay,
it.
we'll table it.
We'll keep spending more money when we need to,
Okay.
that's fine.
Hey, quick
All right.
question. Are there landlines already in this building?
Yes, but we're not using them.
But, okay, so, well, one of the things you might wanna check before you cancel them is with the fire department. Cause the
Well,
fire
the fire
department will
department's
need,
gonna have their
they'll
own.
bring their own.
They're having their
Okay.
own services.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
cause I know they're gonna have a landline.
With your transfer to your general operating fund from your online account and including your Texas Class account, which is still earning the very best interest for you guys, we've got total operating funds of $1,625,000. Your tax account, tax collection still rolling through, so we're at $15,000 for the month that came through, earning interest on this account as well. We are so far year-to-date, so all the way through 3/31, 91.72% collected in your taxes. So we're still expecting a little bit more coming through, but that's a good bulk of it. Your next page is your capital projects fund. You've got your transfer from your Texas Pass account. This is covering the expenses for today. Earned a little interest on the account. You've got that transfer to your general operating fund. Like I said, we're still working on getting all those squared away. Then today, for y'all's approval, we've got pay estimate number 4 for CF McDonald. Your River Plantation joint drainage expenses and your STP expenses. And I have worked with Taylor. We are still, y'all have not seen the joint drainage check come from your capital projects fund before. This is related to the Holly Springs, and so we're still transferring, working those out, but y'all will see that going forward. Then your engineering fees, that brings our ending balance, including your Texas Class account, to $3,583,000. Your debt service fund, earning interest there. You've already got adequate funds for your next debt service payment. And then your park account, same idea, earning interest there, and you've already got adequate funds for your next debt service payment in September. Your page 4, your sewer treatment plant fund, we received payment from River Plantation General Operating and East Plantation. Under checks previously approved, we issued both of your blank checks, and then today, we've got GFL for sludge, your normal expenses throughout the month, then your new blank checks. Ending balance of $19,763. Your joint drainage fund, received payment from both participants, had service charges there. We issued your energy for the in-between meeting expenses. Today, for y'all's approval, we've got your normal expenses, bookkeeping, your engineering, all seasons for the channel clean out. Taylor sent it over to me, so I'm sure that looks good. Ending balance of $15,887 in our account. Your next page is your P&L for the month of March. I always point you guys to that third column. We're looking at your year-to-date in that third column, October through March. We are approaching, if you look at that maintenance taxes, we're at $820,000. We are still, like I said, trickling in on those taxes, but I think we have 100 and something thousand left outstanding. Hopefully those will be rolling through soon. We've got your water and sewer and other revenues bringing us to a total income of $1,250,000 so far. With your water expenses, bring us on to the next page. Your sewer and other expenses, so all of your administrative expenses, we are still sitting at a total income of $484,000 for y'all's year-to-date. Your next page is your P&L for your joint drainage fund. The zeros in the first column and third column show that we have billed everything out to your participants. And then your last page on this report, your sewer treatment plant fund. The same idea, the zeros in the first column and your third column show we have billed everything out to everybody. That's everything on my report, and I did bring an additional sheet for you guys today. Y'all asked me to do a comparison of bookkeeping fees for what y'all are saving. I did print it out. Overall, annually, and this is based on your last audit as well as no increase, so this is just based on your straight numbers from last year. Y'all would be saving $40,945 a year.
Good job.
With that being said, I'd like a raise. No, I'm kidding.
You're gonna go, you're right.
Just kidding.
Oh, that's great, thank you. That's good savings.
Yes.
Great savings.
Okay. Is that it?
And then I have 2 extra checks for you guys, and they'll be listed on my next bookkeeping report. I got those handwritten out for y'all, so.
Okay, all right.
So,
Want to make a motion?
I make a motion, we accept the bookkeeper's report.
Okay,
All in favor?
all in favor? Aye. Payment of district bills.
That was,
Make a motion on that?
yes, I make a motion, we accept the payment of the district bills.
Any second?
No second.
We just need to sign a few more checks.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We did the review of investments, tax assessor.
Just so the audience knows, what you gave us here was showing the difference between the old accounting company and the new accounting company, and it's showing a savings of $40,945 a year by changing to the new company.
If anyone would like to go to the other bookkeepers districts, let me know.
Okay.
Great advertising.
Thank you, Tiffany.
You're welcome.
You did good. Item number 5, discuss use of the boardroom by outside organizations.
This is I've asked for this because the CIA building is being moved out and there's going to be a delay there. We have several committee meetings. I'm on one committee there, and I would like to use this boardroom in the meantime until that building is, until the new building is built, just to use this as a meeting place. I think it's a good idea to have this room to be available. We can make it so that a board member has to be here, perhaps, or something like that.
So you're on the ACC? Okay.
Yeah.
Has the CIA given us, I mean, I haven't heard from the CIA about asking us.
They haven't asked
to do
us,
this.
no. This is the board itself looking for a place to meet.
ACC board?
Yes.
Should they coordinate that with the CIA though, before asking us? Or?
What's the difference? What's we're doing
Well,
first?
I think the CIA needs to sign off on the request before the request is made.
Why?
There's no requirement for it.
I'm asking for it, for the committee that I'm on, to use this room for the good of the community.
And I'm asking that we get CIA approval first.
Why?
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe we can table it next.
we can still get
talk
CIA
about it.
approval, but why does it have to be first? That's what I'm asking.
I don't know how she feels or what she's got set
I
up
don't
for the
care,
rest of them.
right?
It's
I-
their-
we can-
it's
we
their
can- we can say from our standpoint, yes or no, and then we can go to them. Why do we have to go to them first?
The ACC is a committee under the CIA board.
Yes.
That's who rules that committee.
And
You
I
go
don't know
through
that she's got
board.
anything else set up, but I know she does, like for the bridge ladies and everybody else set up at the church. I don't know that she's not got you guys set up for the church, and I'd hate to
I
interrupt
think
that.
permission of that
I
board
think we
needs
need
to be
ask them
sought.
first.
I'm not saying we're gonna do it. I'm saying, can we have permission to do it?
No, until you get permission.
Wait a minute,
It's for us to decide.
I don't like the word rule. That was a bad rule, Bernadette. Nobody rules anybody in this country.
Mark, please be
Okay, and
quiet,
the other
don't
thing
tell
is,
me.
it's an honest question to let you guys just, if the CIA votes on it, then why don't you just already make the decision saying, the board has approved it if we want to move in here? Are these
Because the
meetings
CIA
that-
hasn't approached us and asked us for their for
And the
permission.
ACC falls under the CIA.
Well, he's
so I
not
think they
talking
need to
only
ask
about the
us.
CIA, he's
Right.
talking about other entities being
What
able
other
to.
entities?
If,
Well, it doesn't matter.
Yes,
My
it
church group
does.
might want to meet here someday.
right.
And that's
Okay.
between you and your
That's what I'm
church.
saying, we can make a rule that, if a board member is present at the meeting, then we can use this board meeting for community events, yes or no?
I think about it.
I think we
I'm
should.
saying no. So,
I think we need to get the organization that wants to use this room, I think that organization needs to come to us and ask for permission.
Correct.
Any liability there on that? Mr. Lawyer?
I think the only thing that might
That's
complicate.
that's a very broad question.
Yeah.
Well,
There's always
liability then.
Let me just say that, you know, I don't want to get into hypothetical, liability scenarios, but this is a board room that is used for public meetings now. And so I would expect it would be a similar situation. I think what, Carl is talking about using this for is for other community, meetings, so.
But I think if the CIA was to come to us and ask us, since they're over the ACC, that we could consider it that time.
But that's not the question Carl asked. He says if other units, his is the ACC, but there could be other people that might want to come in here that are not under the CIA.
Is that what you're saying, Carl? For
Yes,
everybody?
yeah, have a general, can we have a general rule that if a community group wants to use this board, if we have a board member present, can we permit them to use it?
Coming up the steps, they can fall out there. I wouldn't take that chance.
I think we could have an understanding that if any organization wanted to use it, could submit a request and we could accept it.
Yeah, because we got security stuff in there, we've got internet stuff in there, we've got computer stuff in
That's
here
what I'm
that
saying, a
I don't
board
want
member
people to come in
present.
here
Let
and.
them your office, Carl.
That's what I'm saying, and they, have a board member present.
I still say that I think that we need to get a request from the organization that is interested in using this facility, rather than just have a broad spectrum of people just showing up on Tuesday night saying, we want to use the building.
It would be up to your approval.
Right. It's still up to our
I
approval.
think this whole thing is that I think all of us would probably agree that this can be used for any community purposes. I think that what they're saying is they just want to make sure that there's a system that they could get it approved by.
Who has the
Let's do
key?
that.
Maybe that's what we're trying to do, just set up a system to get access to the room.
I think you're too fixated on the CIA and the MUD. There's no connection between the CIA and the MUD. It should just be an open, yes or no, people can use this.
Mark, I don't see you sitting around that table.
Well,
No, but
let's,
I think for security
direct the
reasons, we
questions
have
up
to-
here.
yeah.
I found this sheet, when I was going through the computer, it's a municipal utility district boardroom key sign-out sheet. Signature of the person acknowledges that they assume responsibility for the use of this room, securing the room and returning the key to the office. So obviously this has been done in the past, but I don't know how old this is or when it was used, but I'm just saying that this was something that the boardroom
Well-
has been used outside.
So when people come up here, say you want to use it for the bridge ladies, and who's going to come up here and unlock it and be up here? One of us has to do it, spend our time for 3 or 4 hours while they're here.
That's what I'm saying, if someone would want to do that, if not, then no. I mean, or we can come up with a set of guidelines for how can we use this more than just for board meetings.
That's the key, is to get a guideline set up.
Yeah.
I think it should be used.
I think we need to table it, come up with some guidelines for the next meeting to go over for that exact thing, because let's say the bridge ladies want to come in here. I'm not eager to sit here for 4 hours.
No.
And the bridge ladies were up to like 6 hours last time.
Carl ain't gonna lose business on that.
I don't want to come up here and sit.
So they would be turned down, simple as that.
Okay, well, then I think a lot of opportunities are gonna be turned down because of the same reason of somebody having to sit here and watch the
So how do we get these?
audience that's here.
How do we get these guidelines drawn up? Who's gonna do it?
I'll take the first shot at it.
Okay, draw up some guidelines and we'll discuss them at the next meeting.
Okay.
On the question,
Good deal.
Tim, on the question, Tim,
Mhm.
here again, you showed that, Carl, you showed that little picture right there with all the copy of sign-ins. And I still think you need a certificate of insurance with us named as additionally insured.
With the fire department.
Fire department and something like this. Anybody other than our people coming in here.
Providing who the insurance?
Providing us as additionally insured. The fire department
And their
pays for the insurance, we're
So
additionally
in other words, if the
insured.
bridge ladies want to come in here and play, they've got to provide us with insurance? Is that what you're saying?
If they're an organization, if they're.
It's a dozen
No.
elderly ladies that want to come in
You're
here.
taking apples and oranges.
We need
No,
to
I'm
table
not.
this and move on. We're not, Mike, he's already agreed to do
We're
it.
Not all night.
We're gonna do the guidelines and then we'll see what it's.
We'll come up with some guidelines.
It'll take a few months.
You better look at COI.
Other buildings are built.
Okay,
Let me add that there are insurance requirements for ESD 9 under the lease agreement. But we can require, you know, whatever the board thinks is appropriate for any user of the meeting room, so.
Correct.
okay. Park maintenance matters. Any issues with the park?
There's a bunch of branches laying around. Are they picking those up, you know?
They will start, per our meeting last week, special meeting. That project is gonna start next week, first week of May. And one of the tasks that he's bid on was to pick up all the limbs and debris on the ground, as well as cutting down the 32 trees. Well, he found some more.
And I think there was a lady saying some of our lawn guys have put some cut limbs behind her house. They'll pick up all of those, right?
Yes.
All of those be there. We've got some out
Yes.
here in our.
Off of Ravensworth and off of Old Hickory, there's some limbs. So
So they'll pick up all of those.
he's
while
gonna
they're
pick
out.
up all of that.
And I think over in Bernadette's park,
Yeah.
somebody dropped, I don't know who it was. It's a
Big
park
load.
there, it's Natchez Park, but somebody went over there and dumped a whole load of cut up limbs, and it's like 6 foot high across. Somebody just dumped them in our park. So is that something that Jay can pick up too, or?
Well, we'd have to add that to it because that wasn't included in his cost.
Yeah, that's,
Natchez Park, whose park is that?
That's not our property, that's the.
that's a CIA.
Oh, that is the CI, that is the CI.
Yeah, so Jay would have to,
Did bids go
A
out for
quick
the
thing, Tim.
32 trees?
yes, we had 3 bids.
Another thing, Tim, there's a few places when I walk on there where if you look up, there's some stuff that's about to come down. I know on 2 Charleston, I think. There were some branches that fell, but some stuff's gonna fall and it's right on top of the cart path.
Okay, we'll have to make him aware to look up.
Yep.
Mark, just so you're aware, Tim and I both went all around and we marked like 29 or 30, well, it's more than 30.
I see.
because we were
Yeah,
up
I see the
trees
marks.
that were dying or had that situation.
Yeah.
And that's what we got the bids to do, and that's what's gonna start next week.
Okay. I'll be watching.
Me too.
Bob? Excuse me.
Okay?
Okay.
We have a question back.
Question back here.
Yes.
Kathleen.
Question, a lot of the trees around here are either dead, dying, or, sickly, whatever. Has it been considered, or would it be financially sensible to have a tree company, whatever you wanna call it, on a maintenance agreement, maybe twice a year, come around, prune them back, and make sure that they stay healthy? Because, is it gonna cost more to have something like that than to constantly be having to have somebody come and cut them down or pick up the mess afterwards? You know what I'm saying? It would make more sense to me. You're gonna pay either way, But it
Well-
would be easier to have a maintenance thing so that you don't constantly have trees that are already half dead falling down and having to deal with it on an ad hoc basis. If they're kept more healthy, I would think that it would be, you would have less of
I
that,
think
no?
the board looked at that a while ago. There was
Did they?
some, I forget the name of the company, but it was that type of deal, marking all the trees and, I mean, on maps and stuff and doing all that stuff, and it's pretty expensive.
Well,
Yeah, but how
what we gotta
expensive
consider
is it to
also
cut
is
them down
that
every time they fall down and grind them?
most of these trees are about the same age. They're all 30 to 40 years old.
Yeah.
And that's the average lifespan of some of these trees. So, I'm not sure that investing a lot into the trimming is gonna be,
Gonna help much.
is gonna help much. Now, what we've done recently, what Tom said, we went around and looked and examined a lot of trees that are dead or dying. And those are the ones that we're gonna cut down.
Yeah, but you understand what I'm saying, if you had a maintenance agreement and you see something's on its last legs, that it's maintained once or twice a year versus waiting until there comes another storm or whatever and.
You talking about just Charleston or the whole neighborhood?
The whole neighborhood, really. I mean, the parks
Okay.
are a disaster. Every time there's a storm, there's just branches all over the place on the golf course that you guys bought and the parks, which aren't your problem.
That's right.
Well, Tim, can I say something on that subject?
Okay?
You're spending 12 grand, right? How
Yes.
many years has it been since you had to spend any money on the Charleston, or, because you hadn't had the park that long?
Right.
So, a maintenance agreement is gonna eat up some money,
I
I
agree.
guarantee you.
I agree.
So, you gotta weigh, how many years has it been since we've had to do a cleanup versus doing a ongoing type of cleanup, a maintenance type agreement.
Well, it's not really ongoing for cutting down the trees that we're doing because we haven't had a
Yeah, I
major
know.
project like this.
But what she's talking about doing on maintenance, so that's
I
an
know.
ongoing,
Yeah.
right?
But the
So you
thing
have
is,
to weigh those costs.
if you keep them healthy, they're not as likely to fall down every time there's a summer breeze, is my point.
Well, you're depending on Mother Nature, well, you still got the sprinkler system going now, but you still.
That'll help a lot, the sprinkler
Yeah,
system.
you're depending on Mother Nature for the most part.
We'll take it under consideration, Kathleen.
Okay, just a thought.
Good thought.
Okay? Anything else for the park?
There's a few items, and I know I've talked to Julie about things, and given her some lists. Things like on number 7, Charleston, there's one of them green things that used to have water and trash cans in them. Well, people fill up with trash, but it's never picked up. That little building or whatever should just be taken out. And
We want to take those trash
What little
cans out.
green thing are you talking about? I'm not sure.
It held the water jugs.
There, it's a building this wide, it's got 2 bays, and one side had a water jug, and the other side had a trash can. And people put trash in there, which is good, but nobody picks it up.
Is that by Bruxenbrag? Is that one?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
first,
Yeah.
coming in from the gate, the first one, that one's still there. They took the one off at 4 Charleston.
Mark, we'll take care of it.
We
It'll
probably
be
should take it
gone
out.
this,
I'll ask,
in a week.
Oh, you wanna leave it because, people put their trash in there, otherwise it'd be out there on the park.
Because
Yeah, it
we
doesn't-
don't have anybody to pick it
Well,
up.
yeah,
I'll ask
what
all
happened
seasons
last
to
time
pick it
I
up.
brought that up, y'all had the yard people, and that's part of their duty is
That's
to
what I wanna do.
take those bags out of there and be done with it, and
We
then
can do
don't
that.
tear down stuff like that. You wanna encourage people to put their stuff in there. They still put their dog stuff on the sidewalk. Rain eventually washes it off.
Well, we could
But
have some
anyway,
trash
that's
cans by like Braxton Bragg and Stonewall Jackson that routinely Waste Management could,
It's a budget concern too. We have to take that into consideration.
that or trash all over and the trash is there.
We would hope the people have a little more consideration.
Correct.
All right,
People
so-
think, but they don't. Yeah.
One of the other things about the park is there's a ditch, the Mosswood Ditch, off of Ravensworth. There is, we've received a couple complaints from homeowners that the weeds growing up the ditch are growing up their fence, getting in their yards, things like that. So I put out requests to 3 different companies for bids to do the work. and we received one bid back. And I emailed that to everybody this evening because my printer decided to die today.
We're in Ravenswood.
Behind Ravensworth, where the Circle Drive is. Drive off the
Where
Circle
Mary Chapman
Drive.
used to live back there?
Who?
Mary Chapman, where she used to live?
Right there with Robert E. Lee.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yes.
Right there at the back.
Yes.
I used to live there too,
Okay.
Really?
for 2 months. I got there in August of '94,
Oh,
and
God.
it got 7.5 inches, a foot of water in
Well, I
October
think
of
when
'94.
Taylor and I drove
Oh,
back
yeah.
there last year, it was
The ditch
sky
bid.
high. The ditch was really high.
Yeah,
The ditch bid.
There's like 12-foot trees in
But
there.
we only have one bid?
We only have one bid.
So that was for,
That's to do 100 feet of ditch, long, 10 feet wide between the fence line and the ditch, and taking all the weeds and debris off the fence lines, whether it's chain link or wood, and then he's gonna spray Roundup so that it reduces the growth.
so that's the one for $3,600?
Correct.
Okay.
$3,600.
That level, we need more than one?
Well, I put out a bid, I put out requests to 3
Anything under
different companies.
25,000, anything under 25,000, you can directly award the one bid.
Davis, what do you say?
Taylor's right, $25,000 is the limit where you have to get 3 bids, and 75 is public bidding, so.
Okay. All right, so do I have a motion to accept that?
I make a motion, we accept the All Seasons bid for $3,600.
Okay,
It may not be.
second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I like that high. That's just crazy, we can't save $150, but we can spend $3,600. That's good meeting control.
But I think, I went down there and physically saw it with Taylor last year, and it was way out of control. And those people are getting stuff in their yard, so we need to get it cleaned up.
Okay, so what's your vote?
I'll vote, yeah, I'll vote, yeah.
Okay,
You got 3, you don't
Yeah.
need me anyway.
Okay.
well,
Okay.
you can say no.
you can say no or
Say, yeah, I
abstain.
don't have to say anything either.
Yeah, abstain.
Okay,
Okay.
and then another bid, same thing. I only got one response, and that was from All Seasons. And that was for power washing this building, cleaning out the gutters, and doing some modest landscaping out front. Now, I know the fire department's gonna take this over, so I don't know what their status is on what they want the building to look like when they take it over. But this is a bid to take care of a lot of that stuff.
I think in our lease though, it says that they'll take it as is, where is. So I
Very
don't
good.
know if we have to do
That answers
it.
that question.
Yeah,
Okay?
I don't know if we need to.
Take that one.
they got bulky, strong men.
Yeah, I don't want to clean it up before we get here. They can clean
Okay.
it up.
We already have some pretty flowers up front, so.
Okay? All right, so we'll cancel that one. And that's the only thing I had other than what we've already discussed for the MUD properties.
Okay.
Okay? We'll move on to the operator's report.
Good evening, everyone. You got March's report in front of you with connections of 977 with 10 vacancies. Revenues totaling at $69,314.75 with a bill consumption of $6,411,000. This cycle, we got total pumpage of 7,062,000. 93% accounted for this month with 2 leaks that were repaired throughout the month. 6 bacteriological samples, all came back good. Below that is our wastewater treatment plant numbers for the month. Everything was working within parameters, no excursions or breaches. We had a little over 3.5 inches of rain and operated at 59% of our permanent capacity. They did have a little bit of 1.5 million gallons of reused water to the golf course. Down below are our age receivables along with our consumption and accountability charts below. And The next 2 pages are our DMR submitted to the state.
So let's back up for a second.
Mhm.
Consumption. So we didn't have anybody that used over 30,000 gallons this month?
I can't.
No, sir.
So no 40, no
No.
50, no, wow.
So this is all,
That's the first
Per our
time in
bill.
years.
That's a long time that that's happened.
So I
we
wonder-
have had some rain though, so.
I also wanted to bring up that well number 3, we used 5,547,000 gallons pumped.
Mhm.
And on well number 2, we only did 1,515,000. So well number 3 was very important to us.
Yes, definitely,
during this last time.
especially with this upgrade that we had to our electrical system at the wastewater water plant number 2 back then.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay.
How are you in filling the holes?
So we, Taylor and I made another trip again this afternoon. I got the guys coming back out, hopefully early next week. We're trying to come up with, calling around, trying to get a better idea how to seal these things without having to go and just tear them all down and rebuild the whole thing. So I'm waiting for some calls back. But we're definitely gonna come up with some kind of sock material, put it in before we put them back in this time around, so hopefully it helps.
I mean, even just the plain dirt is better, was better than nothing.
Yes.
Because
Yeah,
they're
but
much better now.
It's just such a temporary, because it seems like we were hoping that at least it would hold a little longer than one rainstorm.
Are you talking about over by us?
Yes.
He died.
Oh, we had several of them.
We've dye tested a couple of them. Typically what happens is, if you were to build a channel today, you have to put weep holes in it, which you guys have probably seen in retaining walls. There are no weep holes down the entire channel. To install a weep hole after the fact, you have to go in, you have to saw cut a 2-foot by 2-foot square. It's an $8,000 process for one hole this big, you know. So we're trying to figure out what's the best way to seal it. Like Mario mentioned, some sort of sock that we could shove down there, put some dirt over the top of it so that the water can get through, but the dirt stays. Because that's ultimately what needs to happen. It's okay if the water goes through, we just need to get it to stop underneath the soils. So we're calling around trying to figure out a more longer solution.
You know, it seems to me that when you put the dirt in, you're still leaving an air pocket underneath there, and that's what happens.
Sure.
So the more times you put the dirt in, the better it's gonna be.
That is the,
Even without the sock or whatever.
Yes.
Was that the issue
But every time it rains,
the one on Fairway
it
Estates?
gets worse and worse.
So you're
I agree with you.
Yeah, so
So I would,
we went and looked at
I think
those.
it's much better than it was.
Correct.
Keep
That
doing
one,
it.
yeah,
It's gonna be
we're
better.
actually, it's gonna be one
We're
of our
still on
test
that
trial
protocol, we were
ones.
just hoping, you know, there's some
This
sort of
thing they
fabric or something.
recommended called aqua.
It's out there on the market,
Oh,
it's
okay.
missing.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else, Mario?
That's all I have.
Thank you.
I make a motion, we accept the operator's report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, Mario. Engineers report, Taylor.
All right, guys, as far as permits go, the report has been submitted for your annual stormwater quality. So nothing new there. For the joint projects, the East Ditch, we did talk to them a little bit. The quarterly report was submitted for the second quarter, and they are, verbally what they've committed to is that there should be a decision happening in June.
This is FEMA?
This is FEMA.
For the repair.
They talk to you?
Yes, yes, and who we've been talking to, been pretty regular as far as the discussions, it's just, you know, they're also answering to the bureaucracy, so at least we have a helpful person, it's just,
So you think we'll have an answer by June?
that's what we've been told. So, I'll keep you up to date. East Ditch maintenance, as Tiffany alluded to, the maintenance has been complete. Obviously, we got rains again and watched some more silt into it, but they did do the clean out, and I saw it prior to the rains and it was cleaned out for $6,500 that I recommend payment. The wastewater treatment plant rehab and electrical upgrades, we received 2 bids. C3 Constructors was a low bid in the amount of $1.495, so $1,495,000. This includes an alternate for replacing the LED lights. We were not aware of the lights in the building, only one of them works, where the motor control panel is, so we threw in that at the last moment. This results in a cost for you guys of about $867,000, which you guys have in your capital project funds, so not a big deal there.
Big deal.
East Plantation's having a little more difficulty coming up with the funds. They know the information, they want to spend the money. I've talked to them, they understand that the payments would not start happening until middle of 2025 because of ordering the equipment, the larger payments. They'll be able to do all the civil side of the work, but the electric equipment takes 240 days to come in before they do it. So they're working through that. They were in agreement with recommendation of award, so we're recommending award tonight. The Holly Springs, the contracts have been provided to the contractor for signature. As soon as we get those, we'll send them out to you guys for approval. We'll get the bonds and insurance over to the attorney and we'll get those executed. We did meet up with them today, talked through the pole project, had both the residents come out.
Is that Richard Becker?
Yes, Richard, he waved at us,
Yeah.
but talked to John as well as Eric, who is on the back. And so we talked to everybody was okay with the easement stuff, so we're good to move forward with all parties involved.
Awesome, finally we'll get that
fixed for you.
Get that fixed.
District projects, I just put on here questions as far as district drainage study. Don't know if you guys had a chance to look at the information I gave you last meeting. If you'd like me to send it out again, no worries, I can resend that email to you guys. Sanitary sewer rehab phase 2, the construction scheduled to begin Monday, 4/29/2024. So you'll see those crews start coming in. Charleston Park irrigation, bringing this back from last meeting. We went around, we looked at all the sprinkler heads with you guys. So we're bringing back the proposal for the $15,600 for 24 visits throughout the year to maintain, and they'll take care of any leaks or breaks or anything like that.
What about those two that I sent you messages about over the weekend?
Yeah, so you sent me the messages, and I was in contact, and then Mara did confirm that it was a leak. So so I notified them, and they were going to get on it. Since he had shut off the water meter, I said, hey, we've got rain, let's make sure we do it correctly. So they're going to come out and fix it.
Does that count as one of the 24 visits?
No, we're not even into that period yet. No.
Okay.
So have they put us on a schedule yet, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or?
We have not been put on a schedule yet because of all the rains we had. I told them, hey, let's keep it off until we come to a conclusion because we've still gotten good water and there's no reason to be watering during the rain.
Yeah, as soon as you know, let me know so that I can coordinate it with the lawn people.
Okay. And the 24 site visits are 24 like full inspections. They're actually going through each individual unit. That's not just, oh, we're going to check it. That's them coming out, readjusting, lots of things, not just a simple repair.
And when they turn on the sprinklers, is it going to be overnight or in the morning,
the
during the day, or what?
The way it runs, it's a long period of time. You've got over 218 zones that run. So if you were to say 5 minutes apiece, running in different zones, it's a substantial load. So I'm in discussions with them as far as do we do certain ones on Monday, certain ones on Tuesday to keep them between a time period that may be outside of normal people's use of the park so that we don't conflict. So we're working through all that.
Well, we had talked the last time, I think, about the electrical. Have we got all that figured out? And is there electrical in that area in front of the CIA building where that pond is? Is there any electrical there that we can have to run that pump or pond with at some point?
So,
the sprinkler system?
Nothing that I know of that's not a heavy load.
I can answer that. There is one, the CIA put it in when they put that sprinkler in there. It's on a pole back there.
Yes,
by itself.
yes, I know you, okay.
Okay.
Now they're paying for that?
That's the CIA, they have it right now.
Okay.
It's on our property, but they did that a long time ago when they put that sprinkler.
And it didn't work? Yeah.
Well, the fountain that they put in there wasn't big enough. I mean, it didn't have you have to have one with the metal blades that'll cut that growth.
Yeah, it kept getting clogged.
I just didn't know if we had the electrical with a box with the sprinkler system that we could tie into, so we could try to get that.
I don't believe there's enough power in those lines. They're very small. It takes very little electrical power to power those heads. So it would be something where we may have to talk to the CIA. If they're not using that meter, to say, hey, can you transfer it over to us? We're gonna.
Yeah, I don't think they're using it now. The only thing it was, I mean, I think it was originally the MUD's.
It was.
And then she took it over, the CIA took it over because the MUD wasn't using it. And now they're not using it.
But a lot of people like that little pond, and I'd like to get it going, and I think if we could get a pump for like $2,400
You're gonna have to spend probably around $2,500, $3,000, maybe more for an aerator that's got the proper tools to keep it from plugging up.
But now that
That's
we
what
have the
the problem
sprinkler
was
system
with the other
going, it's gonna be healthy out there for the grass and the trees.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see if we can get something done to that
I'm
pond.
not arguing about it, I'm just telling you, it's not gonna be cheap.
Okay, so do you need a approval for us for that?
Yes, I'd like to also mention the 20 additional sprinkler heads we talked about
Yeah,
last
yeah,
time
we did
for
talk about it.
$5,297.
I think we need to keep those because they were specialty
Yeah,
items.
correct.
So do you need a motion for us or?
I was
Just
just
a quick, where they took out the old control boxes, they were on like a little concrete slab.
Yeah.
They got the bolts coming up.
Mhm.
There's still a couple of them, I think, that the bolts are sticking up, they need to be
Okay.
hammered down. They've done a few of them.
Okay, yeah, we'll take a look at those.
Okay.
and
Yeah,
figure
we
out-
talked about when we did a tour of the whole irrigation system, we still need to get some green boxes.
Green boxes,
To
correct.
cover, completely cover them so anybody won't be going up there messing with them.
Correct.
So I'll make a motion, we accept the proposal for $15,600 for the maintenance, including the 24 visits plus the 20 additional sprinkler heads
For
for
$5,200.
$5,000.
Anybody second?
I'm not sure, I guess. What's that work out, about $1,000 a month to come out and do that?
A little more? About 1,300.
I guess I'll second it, because we
I don't know
we
who else
spend
is
so
gonna
much
do it if we
putting them
don't-
in there, we gotta keep them running.
Yeah, if we don't, who's gonna do it if we don't have somebody else do it? We can't go.
Okay, so we got a second. All in favor? Aye.
I abstain.
Okay.
Approved.
Storm sewer phase 1 rehab, that construction's still underway. Water plant number 2, electrical upgrades, they're just doing all the stuff they can do until they get the motor control center in. They're about 3 months out for that to be delivered, so. Plantation Village, we received the survey for the park, I'm working on that design, we'll have that for you guys at y'all's May meeting. For the 10-year CIP, as Tiffany mentioned, I've been putting in a lot of hours to try to figure out where everything should go, how much exactly funds you guys have left. So currently, I think what you guys have shown in your operator's report is a little over $3 million. With that being said, you just authorized the sewer plant projects that will cost you $867,000. The sanitary phase 2 is another $692,000. You've got about $400,000 remaining on water plant 2, another $400,000 on the storm sewer phase 1, and then about $150,000 for Holly Springs and the work on Plantation Village, which
Pretty much cleaned it out.
which puts you about $334,000. So I just want to make sure that you guys understand, and we'll have a full breakdown of that in my report, and then she'll have the accurate one in her report as well. Just to make sure you guys understand, you don't have $3.2 million sitting in there. A lot of that's been allocated for funds. It's just construction takes.
We're almost to that point, huh?
Yeah, so that's to say, me and the FA and the attorney have all been looking at the next series of bond apps. and-
Does it look like you've got a solution for the Plantation Village to stop that problem up there?
Yes, we believe so. We're gonna channelize the flow so that the sheet flow gets out faster. We're gonna add another culvert underneath the road to get it out to Charleston Park where there's heavy elevation fall that'll remove it away from the residents. so.
Water plant 2, what's the status on the upgrades there?
Water plant 2, they are pulling electrical wires and doing everything they can. They are about to demolition the old automatic transfer switch that will remove it from the wall. They're gonna have to pull that wall in a little bit to give his guys access to a valve that's right there that I don't think you guys have ever been able to access. It's in like a little cutout right now, and once they do that, then they're waiting on the motor control center that's about 3 months out. That's, the motor control center is what?
We're still waiting on the motor control center.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the lead time on those things are about 300 days right now.
But the plant's still functioning.
Yes.
Right,
It's still,
yes.
it's still in operation. It's just-
The reason-
We're taking down in sections.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Last thing to discuss is some stuff from the last meeting, the 592 Stonewall Jackson Bend. That one, due to the recent rains, it opened it back up, so Mario's guys are back on it to fill it back in. I did have them dye test it. It is leaking into the channel. It's not doing what I was hoping it was doing, which is coming over the pipe. So we're just gonna continue to push dirt into it. I think Carl's right. Once the rain came, it just pushed the dirt deeper into the void. And then we'll just have to keep stacking it up until it fills that entire void. I don't think it's.
So some of those, one of the residents complained that there's still black plastic around. Are y'all gonna take that off?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, we're taking off.
There's
They're
two
taking-
places, further on down and
Yeah,
then
there's one
across the street from him.
There's on Fairway, there's one across the street from him, there's one on.
So y'all will be
We
taking.
drove by today, so
Yeah.
I got those locations, we'll pull them off.
Yeah, correct. And just for everybody's information, those were holding back silt as grass was being established. So on and so forth. Stonewall Jackson manhole sinkhole repair, they did repair that, and so we inspected that prior to the meeting. I think it's good repair. It's now operating as it should. It now has bars up against it, so it's not an open hole for kids to go exploring it. Spelunking.
Okay.
And then Roddy Lee Drive, that one has been repaired as well, and is complete.
It's covered up now, it's not open.
That one looks good. So where the big hole was, it's a big crate now. And so it still allows flow because the ditch ends right there. So it has the, basically the manhole crate on top, and then they replaced the pipe from the corner all the way to the ditch, and then poured the sidewalk back down.
So why did the sidewalk, why did we put a sidewalk there? Was that?
It was already there, and we just went back with what was there. I know we talked about getting rid of it.
Yeah, but, you know, there's nobody that lives in that house. I don't think anybody, is
They
there?
do.
Do they?
Yes,
Oh.
ma'am. They actually came back and thanked me or thanked us, the MUD, for what we
So,
did there.
you know, I don't remember that the sidewalk was being there before. I think it was just a regular little small sidewalk, so we just replaced what was there.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
okay.
Exactly.
Okay, that's all I have.
Oh, that's all I have on my report.
Okay, for both you guys, and for next month, we'll get the newsletter ready,
Yep.
and get pictures and your top list gets ready for me for next month.
Thank you, Taylor.
Good job.
All right, so,
I need approval, sorry. I do need approval on
Oh, yeah.
the recommendation of award for the wastewater treatment plant rehab project.
Yeah, I've seen it.
That's it,
It
yes.
looks good, I wish we could do it everywhere.
okay,
That's the only other approval I need.
One place we can't use it.
make a motion?
I have a question about the Stonewall Jackson property of the fixing of the ditch.
Okay,
We have several very deep holes that have not been filled. Also, I was told that that corner, where that repair is, would be built back up, even with the yard and grass put on there. Now, I don't remember the fellow, there's been several by there who told me that, but those holes have got to be filled in.
Yes, the holes will be filled in. I apologize, I didn't know they were still there.
Oh, yeah, the
Oh,
hole,
yeah, they've been
you
there.
didn't fix anything but your pipe or whatever that is.
Manhole.
The manhole, the yard still has got the holes. And it's very low. So
what's
it's
that address?
636,
Stonewall Jackson.
and it needs to have the holes and the corner built back up, so it's not the ditch goes from the yard up into the yard.
Okay.
No one goes out and sign off on these projects after it's terminated, make sure it's good.
We do, but I'll meet you on site tomorrow morning if you guys would like and make sure that we're on the same page. I apologize. Yeah.
Okay.
Me and Mario will be there.
Yeah, because the whole point was, it didn't have a base on it, so that whenever it rained, it washed out the bottom of the box. So basically, what our guys did was go around, make a base, seal the inside and outside of the inlet, and then install the crate on the front side.
I understand all
So
that.
I don't recall us saying we're gonna go up, but we'll definitely work with you.
Well, the thing is, the ditch,
Those holes were created by those leaks.
right,
They weren't like that before they started leaking.
Right.
So I would suspect, I would expect
Yes.
that you would repair
Oh, definitely.
those.
Yeah, we'll go back
sinkholes.
out. We'll get with Taylor, we'll meet with you in the field.
Because, I mean, what he's put in there, what he's done inside with the Sac Creek, I just hope it holds in a real big rain.
It will, because that's typically what we use. It's the red Sacrete. It's a high pressure one. So,
Okay.
but we'll definitely meet you out there and make sure we're on the same page.
Well, I'll be working tomorrow, but, you know.
We'll
I'll
go.
be there.
BJ will be there.
So We'll meet you out there tomorrow.
I'm a big girl.
Okay.
That's okay.
No, and I apologize. We'll make sure it gets done correctly.
The guy that was out there working said that he would do it for us for a price.
Recommend, how do you need the recommendation of award for the wastewater treatment?
That's correct,
Okay.
yes.
I make a motion, we award the wastewater treatment facility rehab.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Do you need a signature on it?
No, there's no signature.
Okay, thank you, Taylor.
Thank you, guys.
All right, so we're gonna move to the comments from the public section now.
Take care of it. Sticker just a report back from the last meeting.
Okay, all right, we'll do that under pending business.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Robert,
Robert?
do we have a sign-in sheet so we can?
Oh, yeah, is there a sign-in sheet back there, Mark?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna make a comment, but I was wondering, who keeps track of manholes around here? Or who report them to?
As far as
Thank you.
issues.
Well, I know under my backyard, not my backyard, it's under the power line. I'd going back here, putting stuff on ant beds and stuff, and noticed there's a hole there. And until I saw the one over there on Stonewall Jackson, I really didn't pick it up as being, and talking with the neighbor, you said, yeah, underneath that power line is an easement for either storm sewer or whatever, but there's a hole there. So if someone come out and whoever comes out and looks at those things and confirm it, that'd be great.
Either Mark or
I'm at
myself.
533 Natchez Park. You know where we live.
Oh, yes. So, yeah, we can go by there.
Oh, yeah.
Typically, it's sewer or drainage. I mean,
Yeah.
we take care of it anyway, so we'll go by, dye test, and just make sure.
I don't want my cat to fall in.
I don't blame you.
That's all.
All right. D. Judge.
Okay, I have a question for Betty. Betty, could you give me the name of that inspector that you met at the conference? He's the one that knew the other inspectors. What was his name?
You've gotten all my emails, Dee. I've already given you that information. You've gotten all the emails, the attorneys have sent you all the emails with his name.
Okay, so that's the inspector?
Mhm.
Okay.
No, that's not the inspector, that's the guy I talked to at the TCEQ.
Yeah, but he's the one you said was the inspector.
He's the one when I met with him at the water board conference, I'm sorry. He was the one that I thought was out there, because when I went out there, he told me all this kind of stuff. I know what he said to me, and when I sent the emails 2 days after that, our meeting, I sent the emails and asked him all those questions, and you have all those emails. So that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, well, he said he was not an inspector,
Well.
so. And, what was interesting, I did ask Keith at the last meeting to send me the names of the inspectors. But then he couldn't because the board wanted me to do a public information request. Now, Keith would just be able to give me the names. If I do a public information request, it's gonna cost the district money. So I don't understand why he couldn't just tell me who they were. What was the deal?
I don't know.
Well, I thought it was a board decision that you insisted, and it had something to do with, they didn't know where it was going, and I didn't know what that meant, but I guess they wanted to know what I wanted it for, which is illegal, so.
Well, I think to be consistent, it needs to have a public information request for
No,
these
I'm just
documents.
talking, no, because then it costs you money. All he had to do is tell me the names that's free. Now, why couldn't he do that?
We're gonna be consistent.
No,
Everything has to
it's
be done.
costing you money, and I'm just talking to him like I've been talking to anybody. I think that's wasteful,
Thanks.
spending. And the thing is, I did find out who the inspector was, and it was a woman. It wasn't the man. So that was kind of interesting, and then 3 other people there were employees of MUNIOPS. Now, I got a question for Austin. Austin, Julie said we're training you in mud matters. Can you explain that? Is Austin there?
I'm sorry, Dee.
No, that's what Julie said, that they are training Austin in mud matters. So I just wondered what he was being trained for.
Austin is not being, Austin is an attorney and he can obviously speak for himself, but I will tell you that Austin works for me and he helps me with River Plantation matters. There are a number of things that come up from time to time where candidly, you know, we have a lot going on, and Austin is perfectly capable of handling them, and so he works on a lot of the river plantation matters in between meetings. And it's worth noting, I know you've gone through all of our bills, his rate is lower than mine, so.
Yeah, I understand that, but some of the stuff he does, it would seem clerical could do, and that would be even less than half of what he does, like the minutes or some of the other things here. I was, you know, I just think, in fact, we have 2 secretaries, and so, and everything is on video, so I don't know why it would be so hard for one of our secretaries to do the minutes. It would save this district some money.
Back to about 2012, when you were on the board, Dee, y'all didn't take the minutes either. They were always taken by attorneys.
No.
All the other MUD, I
No.
talked to all the MUD people at
We
the
didn't have
conference. and
attorneys.
They all have their attorneys take all the minutes, so.
You didn't have an attorney?
No, we only called him when we needed them. We never
But the
had
minutes,
3.
you were the secretary, it shows on
Yeah,
record, and you
that's
didn't take the
right.
minutes.
Pardon me?
It didn't show you took the minutes.
I didn't take the minutes
Well,
because we
you were
had
the secretary,
Ginger,
why
we
didn't
had
you?
it, we had employees
Well,
that
then we paid her, so we paid somebody.
She was being paid monthly.
She worked here.
She worked here.
Yeah,
We
but-
weren't paying her any extra.
She didn't take the minutes, Richard took them.
Okay, your time's up. Thank you.
Well, I've got one more
No,
question.
your
What
time's up.
about-
Sorry,
No,
we-
I'm
no.
sorry, there is more. What about this selling of the equipment and whatever? When are you gonna let everybody know about that? It's Saturday, this video won't be on there probably until Monday.
It's gonna be announced
When?
under pending business. That's on the agenda, pending business.
Wonderful.
And it's this Saturday.
Yeah, but when is the video gonna get out? Because it's gonna be Saturday.
What does that have to do with announcing it tonight?
Well, who's gonna know?
It's on Facebook. We've got it at Facebook Marketplace. It's spread out through Montgomery County, the city of Montgomery, Woodlands. We've announced it a lot of different ways.
Okay,
It's been announced.
It has been announced.
okay, that's all we need.
Okay. Mark Robin, you have maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. James Baldridge.
Yes, sir. On the sprinkler system that y'all upgraded, are y'all metering that water that's being used over there?
Yes?
It is being metered, that way you know it's not being lost.
They said yes.
Yes, sir. There are two 2-inch meters at the curb just before the red building on the right-hand side.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Those are tied into that main sprinkler system.
Okay.
Okay. Sherry Ridgway.
Yeah, I just had a question. I know Mario was out Monday, thank you. We've got a sinkhole, this is in, Fairway Estates. Yeah, and so it's kinda like, I'm on Fairway Court, oh yeah, there she is. And, so our yard, so she's on Fairway Oaks and I'm on Court, but our backyard's and that sinkhole's been, it's a little scary now.
You're the wrought iron fence?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, the wrought iron fence that kind of backs up on the culvert or whatever you want to call it. And so it's gotten worse and worse, but now it's coming through. And the biggest concern is we both have dogs,
Sure.
and it's just gotten very dangerous.
So he dye tested, that was kind of one of the things, we're gonna fill it first and foremost. I'm gonna tell you right now, is it a permanent fix? Not by the largest stretch, but for safety purposes, we would rather pack it firm.
Yeah.
The next rainstorm, call us if it opens back up. In the meantime, what we're trying to do is figure out something that's a little more long-term. Because in the areas of your channel and some of the other ones, the channel's actually in somewhat decent shape. There's not a real big break, I don't believe, at the bottom of the other.
Not
Right.
like it is in some of the other areas.
Right. So
Yeah.
those aren't even areas that we really are addressing with the
Right.
FEMA money. And so we're trying to figure out a longer-term solution
Yeah.
for those.
I had out in January of last year,
Okay.
and they did the dye test along my whole fence line. The one corner is getting really bad, and that's a newer problem.
Jim, I got
But
something
the
else.
MUD over the last several years has been out twice. It was when River Plantation, and You knew who did it, Mario. I can't remember, but, so like, it's been filled with dirt before, and then some foam spray has been in it. But anyway, it was a year ago in January that I called and somebody came out and said it would come to the MUD board. And then I kept calling and they're like, yeah, it's gonna be addressed at the MUD board. And then when I called again, they're like, well, it's been over 6 months, so we need to send somebody out again. So it's just been kind of, and it's getting really bad. And my original, the biggest problem is I can see it getting really bad again. Because I keep sodding it and trying to put dirt in it. I put Quickcrete in some of the smaller spots, just trying to do something. But, so now that y'all come back out again this week, I'm hoping that it's not gonna be, I mean, because literally, the hole is, I have a 70-pound jaw that can fall in that hole and never come out.
Sure. Like I said, he's gonna fill it. I'm very hopeful that we will have a longer term solution at the next meeting.
But there can be something at least some more to room.
Yes.
We're definitely working on a Band-Aid. Yes.
Sherry and I can both fall in the hole. It's big.
We don't need anybody spelunking and.
Yeah, no, we don't want to do that. And we saw a snake in there while we were looking the other day, so we don't want to fall in.
Yes, no, yes, we apologize.
Okay.
Oh, you still got one more, you got?
Yeah, just on, there's also a vacant lot that I think is having some drainage.
So,
I don't know what was.
yeah, so that one, I mean, we do know it's always hold water from my understanding. The 4 years I've been out here, it's always been pretty wet except for during the drought when everything was dry. As far as it's a vacant lot owned by somebody else, it's not really something that the MUD district can do. We did repair the storm sewer. The legality of us being able to cut a swell on it and something like that is gonna be more of an attorney question. And it's a sucky thing to say, I know, you get kind of stuck in a bureaucratic mess, but we don't want to be liable for cutting a swell on somebody's property that is not owned by.
Yeah, I couldn't remember, I thought somebody said there was a sinkhole and then they didn't find one, or was that ever like?
It originally was a sinkhole. There is a storm sewer that runs to that corner of the line, and then another corner. So that sinkhole was fixed, and that person's yard right there, we took down a pine tree, they had a sinkhole in their backyard. So all that area was fixed. There is a way for it to drain there. That's why I said, you know, if we could cut a swell, but.
Time's up.
Tim, I have something else if you haven't got anybody else.
Tim Horner,
Okay.
I know you're here.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Tim was just going to ask about the lot
Okay.
on the McCanns.
Gotcha.
That is there is something going on right on top of where the concrete piping was put. So, in that corner. So there
Yes.
is something still going on.
Yeah, so we believe what's happened is we put dirt in there and the voids underneath where they had already been, it's just the water got pushed down into it, so we just have to keep stacking it, because we dye tested that manhole and there's no additional leaks. So instead of us excavating a large area and trying to chase a sinkhole, we'll just continue to pad it. He also has a root system from that pine tree as well, so that will start decaying, he just needs to be mindful of that. But yes, we're aware his guys are.
The water that sits on there is not chlorinated water.
Correct.
It's runoff.
Correct.
It's something, and it just doesn't evaporate. I mean, it
Yeah.
has to evaporate because it won't
Yeah.
seep.
Right.
Okay,
Is that
is that it?
Thank you.
Okay. That's everybody that signed in, so,
Good, James.
James?
Yeah, on
Real quick.
the website where you can get the reports and everything, I know it asked about this the previous meeting. I found this time, but is there a time frame when y'all put those on the website so that we can get them?
What reports are you talking about?
Well, you got the financial reports, you got the lease agreement, and I don't think I saw those this last Sunday when I was looking. And it looks like they either got on there either Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
So is there any timeline for y'all to get those out to us so we can have time to read them before we come to the meeting?
We provide it to the web, our web source, the company that does our website.
They put it on
They
Facebook?
they put it on our
On your website.
website.
They put it on their website,
Yeah,
it has
on the
documents listed.
Yeah.
Usually get it on within a day.
Okay.
So I didn't see the lease agreement, you know, this past weekend, when I looked at it, but I did see it later on this week, before I could print it out, and all this, you know, all this combines about 104 pages.
Right.
So, you know, I just, I didn't know, unfortunately, I was able to print it out at work, and I don't.
Yeah, we have to print them out every time. It was a lot this time.
Right.
We get them at the same time.
You get them at the
Yeah, we
same
just
time.
got it.
But no, I was just asking if there was, in other words, basically, we got a meeting here, so these things were the previous month's information, you know, from your bookkeeping report and expenditures and all that stuff. So is there any way we can get those at a cutoff like the 15th of the month? We have the third Thursday, or?
She just has to have them to us before our meeting.
Let me just say that we compile them in our office and send them to the webmaster to post, and we try and do it in, you know, they can be posted. We post things essentially as we get them, James. And the issue is, if the board can say, you know, nothing, we're not going to consider anything that we receive after the 15th of the month or something along those lines, but it's going to have an impact on particularly engineering matters. I'll let Taylor, you know, speak to that, but it is going to limit the amount of, you know, business that is accomplished at the meetings. It will slow things down, but it's entirely up to the board. So.
Well, it's the fact that, you know, give us time to kind of absorb it all, read it, you know, and that's a lot of pages, 104 pages, you know, to do it in a couple of days, you know.
Listen, I completely understand.
So we can be informed when we come to the meeting. Yeah.
Right. I completely understand.
The only thing I'll comment is regarding the engineering, because I'm always going to be the worst, and I'll admit that. And Tiffany and Mario's reports are from last month. They're reporting on things that happened in March. Mine is legitimately reporting on things that happened up to the day. And I do try my best to get my report in a week before, but sometimes I may be waiting on a contract to be done or a pay app to come in and things like that. So it does vary a little more for the engineering stuff. So not to say I'm special or anything, but if we were to push it to the 15th, then pay applications and stuff like that would be, it would be very difficult to do things on the engineering side of things.
Right, we'd be a month behind with you every time.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all the public comments that have signed up. Anybody else have anything to say?
Well, are you going to be voting on anything after the executive session?
I'm not aware of a need for an executive session tonight, unless, Paul, unless you have anything, or unless the board has it.
Okay. All right. You need anything, Betty? Okay, Carl? No. Tom?
Yeah, I got one thing that just from our last meeting, it was a question on a safe deposit box, and we didn't know what it was, so I decided to go find out, and Tim went with me to verify what was there. We did find the safe deposit box. We were able to get into it, and what we found was that original documents for this building, well, Tim took a video inventory, if you will, very quick one. I don't have anything printed out, but that's what was in the box. So we decided to leave it there and keep it for another year. We got to get, I have the new statement here, or lease thing, whatever it is, for the box. But Tim and I are now signed up on it, and I'm recommending that after the elections that we go ahead and do a new one and put all the board members that are going to be here on that one. And be it me, be it somebody else, whatever, but we'll all, I'm already on it. But at any rate, so that is here. There was a set of keys in there supposedly to fit master keys, but I haven't found they fit anything. But they've been in there for years, so I don't know.
Okay. All right. And then the last thing that under pending business that I've got is the silent auction that's going on Saturday here. We're going to divest ourselves of a lot of the equipment and office furniture and what have you that isn't going to be needed anymore because the fire station is going to be moving in. So if you've got an opportunity to be here Saturday between 9 and 2, please feel free to show up and put in your bid for on a sheet of paper.
And bring cash.
And bring cash. So we'll be here from 9 to 2, and then we'll open all the bids. Okay? And it is on Facebook, and it is broadcast throughout Montgomery County and the Woodlands.
It's on Marketplace in Facebook.
It's marketplace, not groups.
Huh?
It's not groups, it's marketplace.
Marketplace.
Okay.
So far.
Is there a
Still
list of the
working.
lots, what the
Do
contents
you have the
are?
list?
I have a master list that we have everything on
You
it.
haven't published it.
No, we took a few pictures, but.
The list
some
has
of-
not been published.
There's about a dozen pictures online, and but it's obviously not everything that we've got.
But if you'd like to
Well,
come up
we've got-
Saturday morning, you can see the list.
We've
I
got
have the list.
printers, it's
I'm a big lot.
scanner, we've got a shredder, we've got desks, we've got
Filing cabinet,
lots of filing cabinets,
we've got the John Deere,
the John Deere Gator out in the garage.
we've got a lot of tools out there in the.
Oh, well, that stuff got sold before, you'll find more.
I think it's, if I can add as well, the board actually approached a couple of vendors looking, trying to find someone who would take all the stuff and auction it off, and there wasn't any interest, and so there's been a lot of effort put into putting this together on, with the board doing it themselves, because there were not vendors who were interested in auctioning the old equipment and furniture off. So.
That's right.
They
Yeah,
might
we've
be
been up here
interested
doing
in
it
one or two
ourselves
things
for
that you
3 or 4 days, full days.
See, I would have thought that got all gone the last time y'all had your
So I checked on the cost, tried to get the cost for all the items, checked eBay, checked Marketplace, see what I can see as starting bids, but some of it was just nothing, so we're gonna have,
Where's our antique plan tape with plan rack?
oh,
It's in the front row.
it's-
Okay.
It's going up.
It's there.
But there was vehicles before, and there was plumbing equipment and supplies,
There's
and
just
so not
odds and
everything got
ends.
sold before,
Yeah.
is what you're saying.
It was stuff that was in closets and odds and ends and bits and pieces, nothing really of
We
value.
kept one vehicle to be able to go through, but we're really not using it, so we're gonna sell
I
it.
kind of itemized everything. There's about, I think there was 45 different items in here. Total for everything was maybe $1,000. Because we're not gonna be able to get much for the desk and things like that. We tried to use some of it in here, but we just don't have room to store it.
Take what over to Habitat for Humanity.
That's what
Or
we'll do.
a veterans, maybe a veterans,
It'll be given to charity that what doesn't get
after
sold.
whatever doesn't get sold, we're gonna have somebody, like Purple Heart or something pick it up.
Yeah. It'll be good.
I would like to thank the entire board for the hard work that you all have been putting in, surveying, walking, and putting on these sales, looking over our interests, getting bids. I mean, it's a lot of time consuming for volunteers. Thank you very much for protecting us and keeping us, rolling in this community. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn the meeting?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you, everybody.
Taylor.